Alright, we should be back. I think. Okay, yeah. OBS is acting up for some reason. Yeah, it's definitely not my internet. But yeah, I changed the server thing. Hopefully that helps. Oh yeah, right. So yeah, the highest thing you have to be is rank 120 to do your Omega 3s, and then everything else is like raids and quests that you could grind out on the side to get those materials, so... Yeah, so these raids... Or, yeah, your showdown raids, and then there's these other quests. Yeah, it would be the... Though, these also randomly drop from other raids and all that, so... You'll get those from there too, so... No bad thing, or like... No whatever. Missing out on much. Okay, yeah, so I just put the server thing on like default, and so far it's in table. Yeah, automatic just doesn't work for the Discord server thing. Or not Discord, OBS server. My brain. I don't know why that is. Yeah, what time is it? 9. So it would be 10 for the other guys. Oh, whoops. Ignore this. Ignore me! Done and done. Oh, you know what? I haven't even checked this all day. My mangas. So yeah, if I'm like waiting for stuff or I have stuff on full auto, I just read some mangas on the side. That good. Oh wow, a bunch of stuff out, dude. Definitely gonna read this. Oh man. What should I do? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so what did they do with this update? So the FLBs for Sturm and Sen, and then they added the extra level for the Dojo. And then what else? Yeah, I don't know. Well, they made the changes to the whatever. To the training dummies. So yeah, if you're wondering, Grammarly does have training dummies where you can actually test out stuff with like setups and whatnot. And they have specific things for the basically the PvP event that Granblue has, United Fight, where they have like fights so people can test out for when they need to grind out for those individual ones. So yeah, like this one, for example, is one where it's gonna be a win advantage. So, and this is what I mean earlier when I meant like OTK and whatnot. 0 turn kill. And people just grind out a bunch of those, like, try to kill it as quick as they can. 0 turn is like the best outcome, and then they added a different quest now where it's a horde mode where you now have to do about 30 fights in a row. I forgot who I give this to. MC or MC. Bochi doesn't get any hits in. Hardly gets any hits in. Yeah, she's literally just there to look pretty. So yeah, if you ever watch Bochi the Rock, this character here on the end of or the fourth character here with the red hair, Noir, she's voiced by Bochi's VA. Yeah, they're for testing out your teams, plus seeing if you can actually do the specific cheat or United Fight, like grinding fights. See if you can actually do like OTKs or see how like quick you can do them. So this is literally like an actual like simulation of what it would be for when GW happens and I do the fight that this is based off of. So yeah, it lets you test out like damage values, like it's what people also use to test out like damage values, rates for like buffs. So like if people don't know like what the rate is for like specific things, if they're trying to put info for like websites, then they do that, like much this buff increases your triple attack or your attack percentage or damage cap and so on and so forth, dodge rate. People use it for that too, like actual weapon. And not just characters, but also like summons and whatnot. If they're, especially if they're like newly released specifically. Or in case for like Sturm, I know there's a bunch of people trying to like look up the values and like testing out her stuff. So this and the last thing I did, these are based off of actual quests for an event coming up in like, I want to say in like 2 weeks from now. Yeah, like less than 2 weeks. Also, getting a bit hungry again. What's it? Someone making basically like jalapeno poppers, but it's like wrapped in bacon and filled with cream cheese. So yeah, it takes about 4.5 minutes for my horde fight. Sounds about right. But you get a bunch of the materials that you need to post raids. Oh yeah, and then let me show you the actual thing. And then yeah, these two are actually like whatever dummies. So this dummy doesn't do anything. It just stands there looking pretty, and then this one actually like attacks and has like triggers and all that. And then these are also just whatever for multiple targets. But most people don't really do these. So yeah, let me go here and yeah, let's go. Yeah, use this team with Sturm. On CA. And yeah, we just let this rock, and then after a few minutes, quit the fight, and then you get to see like the different like values of damage and all that, how many turns, summons, etc. And yeah, like the training dummies too is also another thing that just shows you like the progress of like how far you're coming with like your grids and all that teams. Saying like how much of a difference things can be if you change your character or like change weapons, etc. Summons. I would assume them doing like a zoom in of her face or whatever, but I guess it just didn't have the time to. Still a cool looking CA. Very nice. Oh god, I can smell the bacon all the way from here. Pink. No, this is just for the training dummy. So there are some people that actually like try to make like goofy setups where they actually try to kill the dummy. I think it had already happened like a couple times already. Also, at this point with Grand Blue, there's already bosses with like already over 1 billion HP. Trying to think, what is it? I think actually, you know what? Let me look this up. I'm gonna look up how much HP what's his face has. Hexa has. Okay, so Super Ultimate Bahamut has 3 billion HP. And that was me soloing it. I think Hexa has like what, probably 4 or 5 billion? And Fa has like 6 billion. With Sturm, Tsukada Silva, the reenactment from Abby, you can take action 3 times in a row. Oh, so if I use Yukata Silva, I can make Sturm triple attack. Might actually try that. And then this guy's using the Kango team. She's been MIA for a while. So probably after the next attack or turn, when I attack, I'll probably whatever. Alright, and then let's see. Whatever. And yeah, I guess that's also another thing I didn't really. But you can also check the values, like how much damage you did to your raid and all that. Especially if you're trying to like solo it or whatever, but yeah. And yeah, it tells you like how long you were doing the fight, how many turns, how many calls you did, and then yeah, how many skills you use, CAs, total damage, damage with autos and counters, skill, CA, and then other, which is usually summons. So yeah. Specific teams and strategies. I mean, it depends on the fight you're doing, because some bosses require some stuff. Some require like dispels, or sometimes you might need damage mitigation, clears, or like debuff removal, etc. Some can be hyper specific, while some are just straightforward. So like these raids here, they're pretty much all straightforward, to be honest. And to a certain extent, once you reach HL, which is when you reach rank 101. And then yeah, that's also the other thing too with what's it? With at this point with Grand Blue, where there's already so much information that you can actually just like, especially on the wiki, where you can look up like the triggers and what you can do to prepare for them, depending on like what characters you have. Or even with MC, since MC is literally the best SSR character in the game. If you want to talk about like gacha games that have like useful or like useless MCs for Grand Blue is like the best character in the game, especially at this point. Because of this stupid class here. Freaking Fire Origin. Yep. Thank you, Tactics, for living on in Grand Blue. And then coming back to life with the remaster. And yeah, that's right. So if you were also wondering about your classes, yeah, just work on all your tier 1s and then work on tier 2. And then yeah, work on your tier 2s and then yeah, work on your tier 3s. Once you work on tier 3s, the first class you should definitely get is Dark Fencer, just because you get the most used and most useful debuff in the game, which is Miserable Mist. This bad boy. And then after that, yeah, I just work on all the other tier 3 classes. And then yeah, it won't be till you reach rank 101 where you could start doing your tier 4s. I think. As well as your EX classes or EX2 classes. Yeah, I think it's EX2 which is 101. So technically you should get an early tier 4 class, which is probably going to be like the strongest one in the game for you, which is going to be this bad boy. Freaking, oh my god, what is it called? Relic Buster. It's been a good minute since I actually used Relic Buster. Because I've been using a bunch of like tier 5s, but specifically Fighter Origin. No, I did not mean to change it. Back. I didn't mean to actually change it. I kind of want to change the skin, but it's whatever. Bink. Is every class usable? Yeah, every class can be used, but oh, my weapon. What was I using before? Oh yeah, I was using my Opus. Boy. So the thing with your classes is that once you level them out, you also get permanent bonuses for MC along with skills that you can use for every class. So that's one of the main reasons why you work on every class. Because the more bonuses you get, the more beefed up MC ends up becoming. Yeah, let me show you. Oh wait, no, not that. Where is this one? So yeah, legit. Everything you see here comes from completing every like class. This right here is for this specific class. Its own exclusive bonuses. But yeah. And yeah, these do also make a difference. But at this point with the game, no one really uses like tier 3s, at least anymore. Like if you're new, well, for newer players, you're literally only working on your classes so that you get the bonuses plus the skills. And then once you reach rank 101, you start working on getting your tier 4s and EX2 classes. And yeah, the first, well, outside of Relic Buster, the first class you should work on in terms of like EX2 or EX4, or tier 4 or EX2s would be Kango. Just because once you fully worked on a class champion weapon, you unlock the requirement to work on all the everything tier 4 in extra classes. Yeah, that way you do 2 birds, 1 stone in that regard. So yeah, tier 4 and up, plus EX2 classes are viable. Well, I would kind of want to say like half. It would be like Kengo, probably Necromancer, Rising Force. But yeah, no. I think it's like tier 4s and 5s that are like the ones that are the most used currently. And then outside of Fighter Origin, where it's its own unique thing that they just recently added. It's literally the super version of your tier 1 class. And they're going to be adding these slowly. I think the next one they're going to add is probably going to be in December. And let me tell you, this takes forever to work on. Or this takes a while. Because you gotta do so much stuff for it. Because you gotta do stuff that requires you to be able to work on fighter or the origin classes, and then you gotta work on the specific one. Crazy. But yeah, like I said, you should just work on every single one. That way you get an idea of like which ones work and all that. Oh yeah, no, it's an entire own thing at this point with classes. That's why everyone calls this game Grind Blue Fantasy, because there's always something to grind for. Yeah, you have no idea how many people I know that play FF14 that also just grind out Granblue on the side. Like, that's the thing about Granblue, it's literally a mini FF14 game, because guess who made GBF? I'll give you a second. I'll give you a minute. Honestly, it's not hard since I just mentioned the game that you just talked about, but yeah, it's made by the original people, or it's made by the original team of FF14 regular. Not Realm Reborn, like the original FF14. So yeah. So yeah, a lot of people that whenever they were going to do FF14 Realm Reborn, they kept whoever, and then whoever they didn't kept, well, they more or less moved to different stuff, the majority being towards side games to work on Granblue Fantasy. That's why there's so much similarities with stuff, especially with like characters, designs, the class system, and also like the weapons that you get. And then of course you also make weapons, especially for like your classes. And so on and so forth. And then of course you actually have like, you know, raids where you actually play with other people and so on and so forth. The similarities are too uncanny. Primal weapons all over again. Well, I guess in this point with Graham, oh man, so when you say primal weapons, I'm like, wait a minute, do you mean no? Like, yeah, it's its own thing for 14. Trying to think. Luckily, you don't really have to work on any of the, yeah, like the tier 4s or even the tier 5 class weapons. The only one I would probably recommend you work on is Kengo, which is Unsigned Kaneshige, because it's a really strong class champion weapon where you pretty much use it for every element for that class. And that's about it. Because the majority of the time you're going to be using weapons from like raids or even from the gacha. Or from events. As main hands at least.
Get up to rock, get up to burn, stand with the pride and burn for your desire. いらっしゃい。旅支度は
And then of course you also have weapons that you work on so you can also unlock characters. Which are the Eternals. Yes, I think up to Omega 2, which is actually not that bad. It'll definitely help you carry it to a certain point of like post 101/120 rank. So the current like free to play thing with Omega is Omega 3, but I think with the Academy only goes up to like 2.5. So you'll be close. But yeah, literally back in my day, we didn't have any of this stuff. You legit had to like go out your way to grind out and leech grades to get stuff to work on your Omega grids. Back in Omega 1. And then once Omega 2 came out, I legit took like a break and not grind that stuff out for like a good couple of weeks. Well, not necessarily. With the Omega 3s, you just had to grind out like 3 of the Exalto weapons, which further amplifies the percentage of your, what's it called, your weapon skills. So you can actually like make it easier to cap, plus also get like more HP and like whatever additional stuff from the weapon skills. And then what else? And then there's some other weapons too that are like also good. Some that increase like your skill damage, damage cap, and whatever else. So it's not too much. But of course, like the rates themselves is an entirely different thing. Oh yeah, I guess that's also another thing too, where yeah, if you do side stories, you also get a bunch of crystals and tickets that lets you do your sparks. So that's also one of the biggest benefits that I just remembered now for newer players for Grand Blue, where it's like you can get a bunch of the resources to do rolls very easy. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, at the end of this month, there's gonna be the last chance that people are gonna have to get Snake Zodiac. So I guess you also had the off chance of getting her from just like if you're gonna buy the discount spark. I just realized. I think you can also technically get her from there too, so you don't have to like use your like crystals and tickets to actually like get her that way. And yeah, so if you still don't know what sparking is, it's basically the Grand Blue Fantasy's term of hard pity. Honestly, Grand Blue is actually the first game that actually created the pity system, oddly enough, because of Monkey Gate. But yeah, basically it's saving up 300 rolls, which is equivalent to 90k crystals. From Arknights. I was there. Yeah, I remember when that shit happened, I was like, oh wow. So yeah, maybe this is Grand Blue. At the end of the day, it's all Grand Blue that changed everything for gacha games. Also, I'm surprised no one said anything about doing stuff tonight. Playing Fortnite. Oh no, he's playing Pete. I'm like, Brandon, what are you doing? Yeah, what was I gonna say? So yeah, you got side story. Well, you got quests and raids that could give you crystals in that regard, and then you also have main story that gives you a good chunk. But side stories is also another that gives you like over a third, like over 100 rolls. And then there's another thing in the Premium Friday quest, which gives you a bunch of crystals, and then these shrimps that you could trade in to get even more crystals. And I think that's almost enough for like another 100 rolls there too. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's kind of archaic just because of like how much it takes to do a 10 roll, and then how many rolls to actually like hard pity. It's definitely something they should have changed long ago. So, was it Princess Connect? Talked about earlier, but it's also by Side Games and under by the same guy that made GBF. But so they did it where they half the amount of crystals you take, but before it was 300 rolls to do the hard pity, but now they changed it to 200 rolls. So technically, it would be before it would have been 45k crystals to Spark and Princess Connect, but now it's 30k. Also, that game just gives you so much resource, or like you just get crystals from everything in that game, so it's like, oh, it's not hard to save up sparks. So yeah, and that game came out like years ago, or years after GBF. Yeah, pretty much. But it's not only 90k crystals. Single tickets and 10 draw tickets also account to the spark amount. So every single ticket is also 300 crystals, and then 10 draws 3k. So like this example here, so yeah, so I have like 3 singles here and then 110 draw. So that would technically be like 3,900 crystals for, 13 rolls. And then of course I have more crystals in my thing that I don't pick up yet until later. Yeah, I'm definitely saving up until like the end of December raid ups. And yeah, so with side stories, you get whatever crystals from the quests and like quest fights, but each side story also gives you 3 single tickets, so that's 900 per side story. And since there's a bunch of them, it's like, so yeah, like this one for example, it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 24 single tickets, which is like what, 7,200 crystals? And then that's without accounting the crystals that you get from the story and the quests, or the quest fights. So yeah. So it's a lot. Yeah, pretty much. Try to do a little bit of everything if you can. Or yeah, try to do the dojo so that way you could possibly build up a team so you can actually like grind out the collab. Yep, pretty much. Plus, I guess he kind of did start at a good point because the extra thing about next month with Christmas, New Year's is that we're gonna get the roulette, which is every day when you log in, you roll roulette, and depending on where it lands, you get X amount of 10 rolls. So you get somewhere between 10 to like 100 rolls. But usually it's like 10, 20, 30, and then like, yeah, like 100. Or a thing where you fill up the gauge and you pretty much keep on rolling until you get an SSR. And yeah, and sometimes they do extra things where like I remember they did like a roulette thing where depending on where you roll, and then also if you do like rock paper scissors, if you win, you double the amount. So if you did like if you land on 20 and if you win rock paper scissors, you get up to like 40, and then like if you did 30, you get up to 60. And yeah, there's 2 times during the and yeah, this is also something extra that they've been doing for like roulettes for the past couple of years where 2 points during the roulette time frame, they give people 100 rolls for one during a Flash Fest and one during Like Fest. So people use that to help with like sparking during those rate ups, and those being the double rate ups. But at the end of the day, it's like it's just free rolls. So, but yeah, roulette also helps with actually like doing your sparks, hard pitties. So yeah, you can pretty much those pretty much give you a discount for your sparks, which is nice. Also, I'm gonna be right back. I'm just gonna use the restroom real quick, and then I'm gonna get some of those jalapeno poppers.